Good morning, children. So today we are going to start our ninth lesson, that is nutrition in living organism. Okay, so you all know what is nutrition. Okay, it is very important for our various metabolic activities to be carried out, and these obtained from the food. Whatever food we are taking in, that is only responsible for our nutrition. So first topic is nutrition in plants. You all know that plant is only the producer in the world. So all green plants make their own food in the presence of sunlight using carbon dioxide and water, and such plants are called autotrophs. Okay, because they prepare their own food. You can see in this picture, by the help of carbon dioxide, light energy, sunlight, oxygen, glucose, with all these things they prepare their own food. Okay, and they create their own nutrition, so they are called autotrophs and the only producer in this world. They are able to prepare their own food with the help of chlorophyll also. Chlorophyll is the green color pigment, and the animals lack chlorophyll, that is why they don't able to prepare their own food. Okay, and they are not having that ability also. So nutrition is of two types, autotrophs and heterotrophs. Autotrophs, in which they prepare their own food and includes plants and some bacteria, and heterotrophs cannot make their own food, they lack chlorophyll and obtain their food from outside sources. Okay, the picture you are seeing is Cuscuta amarbel. Okay, it is a complete parasitic plant that coils around some other and draws nutrition from it. Thus Cuscuta is a complete parasite. Okay, many green plants such as mistletoe, what we call in Hindi is bhangara, and loranthus, that is bhanda, make their own food by the photosynthesis, but depends upon the host plant for water and mineral salts. Okay, so such plants are called partial parasites. Children, you might have seen that sometimes black spots are coming on bread, pickle, jelly, fungus. Okay, they are called fungus when these are kept in moist places. So these black spots are called fungi. It is a type of bacteria, and after a while eatables start decaying. This process of decay occur due to microorganism, and the microorganism in fungi obtain their food from dead and decaying matters. Okay, hence they are called saprophytes. Okay, you have seen mushrooms growing on dead and decaying matter. So especially during the rainy season, these do not have any chlorophyll, that is why they are not green in color. A few plants manufacture their own food but also obtain a part of their nutrition by ingesting insects, and they are called insectivorous plants. Okay, examples of this is pitcher plant, okay, bladderwort, dorsera, etc. These plants are found in marshy areas which are deficient in nitrogen. Hence, they meet their nitrogen requirements from insects they engulf. Okay, nodule-like structures are found in the roots of leguminous plants like pea, gram, groundnut, etc. And the special kind of bacteria living in these nodules fix and convert atmospheric nitrogen into nitrogenous compounds. These nitrogenous compounds are useful to the plants. The bacteria also take their food prepared by these plants. So this way the plant and the bacteria live with the help of each other. Hence they are said to have a symbiotic relationship. Okay. Our next topic is nutrition in animals. You all know that animals are heterotrophs because for their food requirements they depend upon the foods prepared by the plants. So different organisms adopt different modes of nutrition to obtain their food. Okay, so we vertebrates, those who are having spinal cord, have developed jaws and teeth with the help of which they can hold, cut and grind the food material. So digestion of food in human is it starts as soon as the food is ingested in the mouth. Then food reaches the stomach from the buccal cavity where the esophagus, enzymes coming from the stomach, intestine and digestive glands mix with the foods and digest the remaining starch as well as other carbohydrates, proteins and fats, means whatever we are eating. In this way the complex compounds is broken down into the simpler forms, and these simpler forms are absorbed by small intestine and finally distributed over all the body and reaches the tissues and blood. This is called assimilation. Okay, and lastly undigested matter, that is fecal matter, is excreted out from the body. So the entire process of taking in food, its digestion, utilization, excretion is called nutrition process of animals. So the process of nutrition includes digestion, its absorption, and finally assimilation, and in the last ejection out of the body. Okay. Now our next topic is about the buccal cavity, oral cavity of humans. So you have noticed that your teeth appears in variants, means and it perform different functions also. So according to them, they are given the names, that is incisors, canines, premolars and molars, which have their specific functions of cutting, biting, pursing and tearing, chewing and grinding. Okay, let us see all these things. The first one is incisors. Okay, number of teeth in the upper jaw is 4 and then in the lower jaw it is 4. Its position is in front and its shapes like a chisel, and its function is to cutting and biting. Okay, the next one is canine. In the upper jaw there are 2 and in the lower jaw there are 2. You can see in this picture. Its position is just behind the incisor and its shape is pointed, and its function is to pursing and tearing. Next one is premolars. In the upper jaw there are 4 and in the lower jaw there are 4. Its position is behind the canines and its shapes like a grinder. Its function is to grind and to chew. The last one is molars. In the upper jaw there are 6 in number and the lower jaw there are 6 in number. Its position is behind the premolar and its shape is like a grinder, same as premolars, and its function is to grind and to chew. And children, all these teeth are given so that we can chew our food properly and so that the work of teeth cannot be done by the stomach. Okay, so chew your food properly while you are eating your food. Now the next picture which you are going to see is of amoeba. I want to tell you that digestion in amoeba is intracellular, because amoeba is a unicellular organism and its digestion is intracellular, means inside the cell only. Okay. The next topic is ruminating animals. So children, have you observed cows and buffaloes? Sometimes something they are chewing continuously even when they are not eating. So actually they are allowing quickly swallow the grass and store in a part of stomach. Okay, and that are called rumen. Okay, and after then the food get partially digested, it is called curd, but later the curd returns to the mouth in the small lumps and animal chew it again. You can see rumen in this picture. This process is called rumination and these animals are called ruminants. Okay. Actually, the grasses are rich in cellulose and it is a type of carbohydrates. Okay, so in ruminants, the cellulose of food is digested by the action of certain bacteria present in grass-eating animals. Okay, so many animals, include humans, cannot digest cellulose due to the absence of such bacteria. This is the picture of cellulose, what you are seeing. So ruminants have cellulose digesting bacteria present in their rumen. Okay. So students, we have finished this chapter. This was a short chapter. Tomorrow you're going to get question answers of this chapter. Till the time, thank you.